You don't have a sleep problem. What you have is something else, something much more important, and that is the very root and the very core of how you actually fix your sleep issues. Hi, I'm Dr. Josh. I'm a family medicine doctor with a special interest in sleep, and in particular, helping you, the busy working professional, get a better night's sleep. People often come to me wanting better sleep, and they're often so focused on the sleep itself that they don't realize that there are 6 main things that are driving the sleep issue to begin with. The first thing is scheduling. Now, I know that sounds really boring, but we're basically talking about 2 things. The first being chronotype, which is your body's natural body clock. Some of us are really early birds. Some of us naturally want to get into bed early and maybe even want to wake up early in the morning. Some of us, on the other hand, are naturally night owls or late morning risers, and although there's this cultural expectation that everyone should be waking up early to be productive, to get going, that's just not how your biology works. If you are functioning or working outside of the alignment to your natural biological clock, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're potentially missing out on 1 or 2 hours of optimal sleep scheduling each night. You probably have an inclination as to whether you're an early bird or a late owl, but if you don't know, you could just go online and find the morningness, eveningness questionnaire or the Munich chronotype questionnaire, and these will give you a pretty good idea of where you sit on the spectrum. The second part of scheduling is sleep duration. Now, if you ask most people, how long do you need to sleep? Most people will give you roughly about 8 hours. And that's not totally incorrect, because most people do sit somewhere in that region. But it's a bit like shoe size. Some people run a bit small, some people run a bit larger. And it's sort of the same with sleep, because some people really do have a slightly smaller sleep need, whilst others need closer to 9 or 10 hours. It's only when you combine your chronotype, which is your body clock, and your sleep duration need that you get a good idea of your sleep scheduling. And if you can optimize this, then that is an amazing foundation for getting a great night's sleep. Number 2, you don't have a sleep problem, you have a signaling problem. Now, signaling is all of those factors that tell your body whether it's time to be awake or time to be asleep. Your body does have its own circadian rhythm, its own natural rhythm to be awake or to be asleep, but it is all fine-tuned in our 24-hour day to the effects of light, to the effects of food, to the effects of temperature and activity. Natural daylight really is the most powerful signal that you can provide to your body each day, and the advice would be to get up and out of bed and make sure you get daylight within the first 30 minutes of waking. The more powerful the signaling during your waking hours, the more powerful a signal your body will provide to itself to get to sleep each night. The best signals that you can provide to your body in the evening are ones of trying to wind down and trying to slow down. It's generally a time to stop new activities and start mentally unwinding, which leads us quite nicely onto number 3. You don't have a sleep problem, you have a social problem. I want to try and be sensitive here and clear that our social lives are so important. Connection is so important. In fact, there's very little point in sleeping if you've got no meaning to wake up, and often social interactions in our social lives are what provide that meaning in life. But when we think about it, in the midst of a busy working life, we're often trying to cram in these social interactions into the spaces in between, and often that means eroding into our sleeping hours as well. That might be late night dinner or drinks with colleagues. It could be just staying in late with your family and watching a film on TV. It could be browsing social media just for fun, or it could be staying up and scheduling a group call with a family member on the other side of the world. There are very good reasons for wanting to have a vibrant and thriving social life, but it often does come at the cost of quality sleep. The problem with this is that it then sets you back for the next day. If you suffer and neglect in terms of your sleep, you're really not going to be able to give yourself fully to your social life going forward. So it's not about stripping back all of your social interactions, but just being aware of their place and the time that they're taking in your life. Number 4, you don't have a sleep problem, you have a stimulant problem. Now, in my line of work, in the medical field, if you talk about stimulants, you're often talking about some sort of illicit drug, but there are a variety of stimulants that we take on a day-to-day basis that disrupt our sleep. The most obvious candidates that you might be thinking of might be caffeine found in energy drinks or coffees or teas, but did you know there are actually quite a few more? Smoking, for example, is a powerful stimulant, and smoking in the evening whilst people often get a sort of soothing, calming effect can be a neurostimulant and can severely disrupt your sleep. In the same way, alcohol, although not technically a stimulant, has a sleep disrupting activity. Although some people feel sedated, it actually severely fragments sleep. There are also some medications that can act as stimulants and disrupt sleep. These can be some blood pressure medications, it can be some sorts of antidepressant medications, asthma medications, even some over-the-counter decongestants. Number 5, you don't have a sleep problem, your sleep is a secondary problem. Now, in the world of medical speak, secondary issues are underlying problems, ones that are driving the main sleep issue. Now, these might be things like medications or stimulants, but they might also be medical conditions. When I'm talking to my patients about secondary issues driving their sleep problem, I'm often talking to them about thyroid problems or perhaps another sleep condition like restless leg syndrome, which can further be driven by anemia, for example, or we could be talking about something like the menopause, which can commonly disrupt sleep. I can't stress enough that although I am a doctor, this is not medical advice. I can't provide medical advice on a place like YouTube or wherever you're watching this. And so the best advice I can give you is if you do suspect something is wrong, go and speak with your own doctor and have that discussion with them. And finally, number 6, you don't have a sleep problem, you have and if you didn't know, they all begin with the letter S, standardization problem. Now, standardization really just means consistency. Basically, none of this is very good advice if you are not consistent, because consistency is what keeps the system healthy and functioning. And talking about systems, they have become a massive thing in the world of productivity, but systems are also one of the best ways you can keep to a good sleep scheduling routine, can keep your good sleep signals coming in throughout the day, can avoid those stimulants, can do all the other S's that we've just talked about. Consistency is the bedrock of good sleep. Your circadian rhythm depends on consistency. You could buy the latest gadgets and supplements, you could be spending an absolute fortune on all of those things, but if you are not consistent with your sleep scheduling, your body will not thank you for it. It's easier said than done if you inherently have a job which is chaotic, if you have a life which feels chaotic, but it will feel chaotic if you do not prioritize consistency in your sleep and wake scheduling. It's a bit like going to the gym. In order to maintain and grow, you need to do it on a regular basis. And as you do so, you begin to be able to trust your body, to be able to trust your body's internal systems for sleep, so that if you do have an off day, if you do go out for drinks, if you do stay up a bit later 1 or 2 nights, then it's okay, the body knows what to do. In reality, your sleep issues might boil down to just one or a few of these issues that we've talked about, whether that's scheduling, signaling, social factors, suffering with stimulants or secondary problems, or just being consistent. Sometimes the issue of sleep can seem so murky, you just don't know where to begin. So I hope this has provided you with some sort of reference point, some sort of framework to get an idea of where to start focusing your attention. And look, I know this is all still quite surface, high-level stuff, and I know for some of you, you're looking for a bit more detail, but don't worry, if you're looking for that, stay tuned on the channel. I'm going to be talking a lot more, including things on sleep technologies, on how to schedule your sleep when you've got late night commitments, or you've got an irregular schedule, or you're traveling. And I'm also looking to hear from you. What are you interested in knowing more about? You can always reach out to me or leave a comment down in the comments box below. I'll look through all of them. But if you haven't already, hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.